A top general, Miao Hua, confesses billions siphoned from China's military. Xi Jinping's own family accused of turning the army into their personal ATM. Could this be the leak that finally topples China's most powerful man? Stay tuned, because today's revelation could change everything you thought you knew about Beijing's power struggle. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us. Miao Hua's explosive confession rocks the PLA, how Xi Jinping's family privatized the army as their ATM. On August 27th, the blog Tianji Guide dropped a political bombshell. Miao Hua voluntarily confesses, exposes the details and truth of the Xi Jinping family's embezzlement of huge military funds. The blogger described it as a forbidden secret, so dangerous that almost no one dared to touch it. According to the report, the Xi family has for years treated China's armed forces not as defenders of the nation, but as their personal cash machine, siphoning off billions in military resources, from trusted general to captive. Everything changed on March 14, 2025, when Miao Hua was taken into custody under charges of suspected serious violations of discipline and law. Under interrogation, the once trusted general shattered the wall of silence. His testimony was chilling, a meticulous account of corruption so vast it crippled the army's operations and, in his words, threatens the very foundations of the Chinese state. The Xi family's grip on military enterprises. Miao revealed that Xi's elder sister Qiaoqiao and younger brother Yuanping quietly held shares in dozens of defense-related companies. These weren't token investments. They effectively controlled vast chunks of the military-industrial sector. Many of the PLA's largest procurement contracts, worth billions of yuan, were steered toward firms tied to the Xi family. One example stood out. A radar system for fighter jets valued at more than 10 billion yuan, about $1.4 billion. On paper, the bidding process looked complex and transparent. In practice, the winning companies always circled back to Xi's network. Shell companies, rigged inspections, hidden profits. Miao laid out the mechanics. Profits were funneled through shell companies, offshore corporations, and charitable foundations designed to obscure the real owners. Yet in the end, the money always returned to accounts controlled by the Xi family. Even worse, loopholes in the contract acceptance stage meant that defective equipment was delivered to the military. Quality inspections were deliberately lax, mere rubber stamps, ensuring the cash pipeline never stopped. This was no accident, Miao stressed. It was a closed-loop system engineered to turn national defense resources into private family wealth. Xi Mingze's overseas empire. The scheme wasn't confined to China. Xi Jinping's daughter, Mingze, though never part of the military, allegedly used her foundation to invest in foreign defense firms, reaping billions of yuan in profits. According to Miao, these deals were disguised as technology innovation or cultural exchange. In reality, they were financial pipelines sending money back into Xi-controlled accounts. One striking case: a European housing company acquisition worth nearly €1 billion, about $1.17 billion. The final authority, Miao claimed, rested with Xi Mingze herself. Worse still, those profits were reinvested into Xi-linked military firms in China, creating a cross-border cycle of wealth fueled by defense budgets. Peng Liyuan and the arts funds. Even Xi's wife, Peng Liyuan, was involved. According to Miao, she oversaw massive budgets for military art troupes worth hundreds of millions of yuan. Much of that money was siphoned off by cultural companies secretly tied to the Xi family. On the surface, these firms appeared independent. Behind the scenes, contracts and finances were controlled by Xi's loyal insiders. The scheme extended beyond the arts, to training programs, condolence visits, and special military allocations. In Miao's blunt words, the PLA's budgets had been turned into nothing more than a conveyor belt of cash feeding a single ruling family. A national security crisis. Miao stressed that this was more than embezzlement. It was a national security crisis. He cited one example, a main battle tank procurement program. Instead of prioritizing cost-effectiveness and performance, every stage, from design to supplier choice, was hijacked by profit chains linked to the Xi family. The result: fewer tanks, of lower quality, while enormous sums vanished into private accounts. This same corruption, he revealed, infected research projects, training, overseas exchanges, and even welfare. Miao admitted, the army's loyalty is no longer to the nation or the people. It is to the family's interests. Protected by generals, backed by allies. The Xi family's looting, Miao explained, wasn't done alone. It was protected by some of the PLA's most powerful generals, many of them Xi's closest allies. With their backing, the family operated with impunity. The result, Miao warned, was devastating. Loyalty distorted by blood ties, competent companies sidelined, and genuine military talent stifled. Again and again, he confessed that the scale of corruption was far beyond what the outside world could imagine. The cost of speaking out. Still, exposing the truth came at enormous personal risk. Before confessing, Miao endured crushing psychological pressure. The Xi family's grip was suffocating, the military's hierarchy perilous, and one wrong step could have meant his life. Yet he chose to speak, hoping to jolt the public awake and restore accountability inside the PLA. However, this leaked information is nothing short of shocking, but for now, it cannot be independently confirmed. Commentator Liyuan offers perspective. Within the CCP system, high-ranking officials steal on a large scale, low-ranking officials steal on a smaller scale, and there is no official who isn't corrupt. This, he argues, is an undeniable fact, and Xi Jinping's family is no exception. Miao Hua was no outsider. He was Xi Jinping's most powerful right-hand man in the military, an insider fiercely loyal to him. From August 2017 until his dramatic downfall in November of last year, Miao served as director of the Political Work Department under the Central Military Commission. During that time, he likely had direct access to highly sensitive secrets about Xi's family. And that is why, if his explosive testimony proves genuine, the implications for Xi are staggering. Ever since coming to power, Xi has loudly championed slogans like fighting corruption, taking down tigers, and clean governance of the military. Wouldn't all of that suddenly look like an ironic joke? If the leaks are authentic, Xi Jinping may have no choice but to step down at the upcoming Fourth Plenary Session in October. Yet another possibility cannot be ruled out. In the chaos of CCP factional warfare, this leak may have been carefully planted by rivals, weaponized to bring Xi down and consolidate power for themselves. Insider letter reveals Xi Jinping's true loss of power. In recent weeks, a flood of rumors about Xi Jinping has emerged. How much is false and how much is true remains impossible to verify. The real question is, why are these reports surfacing now? Some sources even claim that Xi actually lost power back in April of last year, and that he is now only a puppet leader, kept in place to reassure the outside world and prevent instability, while real authority rests with party elders such as Hu Jintao, Wen Jiabao, and Zhang Yuxia. It was in this climate of speculation that commentator Li Daiyu received a remarkable letter from a member of China's second Red generation. The letter not only echoed these claims but also provided a detailed account of how Xi's power was dismantled, who truly holds control today, and what might happen next. Signs of isolation. According to the insider, Xi has been without real power for over a year. His public appearances do not show strength, but highlight his isolation. On July 7th, he visited Shanxi's War Memorial alone, in heavy fog, with no standing committee members present. At the same time in Beijing, General Zhang Yuxia led Xi's closest allies at a major ceremony, sending a clear message about where actual power lies. A new power structure. The letter revealed that party elders, including Wen Jiabao and Li Ruihuan, together with Zhang Yuxia, have established a central ideological coordination group. This body bypasses the Politburo and Standing Committee, effectively sidelining Xi. Other figures such as Wang Yang and Liyuan are believed to be involved, while former President Hu Jintao plays a symbolic role. Xi's predicted exit. The insider wrote that Xi will not survive politically until the 21st Party Congress. His departure could come as early as the Fourth Plenary Session in October. Unlike past leaders, Xi will leave under pressure and be remembered as a liability to the party. Successors, the letter claims, will distance themselves completely, blaming him for the regime's failures. A puppet role. Many ask why Xi still appears in public if his power is gone. The insider explains that these are stage-managed appearances meant to keep him as the face of the regime, while others control decision-making. Even his recent visit to Tibet was described as a performance arranged by those who now hold real authority. Collective leadership returns. The shift is not a factional struggle. Instead, it reflects a structural change, with senior leaders and generals reintroducing collective leadership. Hu Jinping may become the next general secretary, but only as a weak, symbolic figure. Real control will remain with the new coordination group. Conclusion. The letters paint a clear picture. Xi Jinping, once seen as China's most powerful leader in decades, has already been sidelined. He retains titles, but not command. Military power has moved to Zhang Yuxia, political authority to the coordination group, and Xi himself is left as a figurehead. If true, Xi Jinping will be remembered not as the iron-fisted anti-corruption crusader he claimed to be, but as the weakest, most sidelined general secretary in CCP history. And yet, despite this outcome seeming all but certain, Beijing remains tense. The insider explains that the reason lies not in a simple struggle over one man's position, but in the restructuring of the entire system. In such a climate, every official inside the CCP could become a potential threat. To eliminate risks before they grow, Zhang and his allies have relied on maximum pressure, frequent troop movements, public displays of strength, and constant signals of who truly commands the military. According to the letter, this strategy of deterrence will continue until the Fourth Plenary Session has concluded. The letter explains that Zhang has also used military deployments to consolidate control and uncover hidden dangers. The tactic is compared to Deng Xiaoping, who launched the war with Vietnam to secure military authority, but Zhang does not need a war. With decades of experience deeply rooted in the PLA, he knows exactly where he is strong and where he is weak. For example, he knows his control over the Navy, the Air Force, and the Eastern Theater Command is limited. So he used Xi's Taiwan policy as cover, increasing maneuvers around Taiwan and creating incidents in the South China Sea. To outsiders, it looked as though Xi was still in charge. In reality, these operations tested loyalty, exposed unreliable officers, and strengthened Zhang's hand. If a crisis occurred, such as a ship collision in the South China Sea, the blame would fall on Xi. Near Beijing, troop deployments had a different purpose: direct intimidation and a blunt reminder of who really holds power. If this entire letter is genuine, then it has already answered every question that has surrounded Xi Jinping in recent months. Let us wait and see how events will unfold in the days ahead. What do you think about today's topic? Do you believe Xi Jinping has truly lost power, or are these insider letters just part of a bigger political game? And most importantly, what kind of future do you think lies ahead for China? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss our next update. See you next time and stay tuned.